Say that again.
Toast.
Back to the channel. In today's episode, god damn it, man. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we are going to recap what happened with the yellow car after we got it back from our friends at Blackjack in Georgia. We took the car down there so they can address a couple of issues with the chassis, minor fender benders, because the main idea was cut the car in half since it doesn't have a title and fix the Lognex car and the FireX. Well, the plan was take it down there, bring it up here, vapor blast the car, and then section it. Well, as we were vapor blasting the vehicle, we uncovered a major dirty little secret that was not disclosed in the Carfax, and I don't think the previous owner knew about it. So that put a major setback on the project and changed the direction of the project completely. So this is what the video is about today. So we're gonna do a little recap on the previous videos of this car and what we found during the vapor blasting and the new direction they were taking with the project. So let's get to it.
Hey, welcome back. We're back at it again. We're here with one of our donor cars. This is going to be one of the last pieces that we need to help make the river car and the fire. So we're going to get to stripping this thing down and parts separated out, find out what we can use.
And that was the original plan. Strip all the unnecessary parts from the NSX before we load it to our trailer and take it down to our friends at Blackjack in Georgia so they can actually address a couple of things that we found. Mainly on the front driver side where the rail meets the lower radiator support bar. There was a little split there. We also noticed some bundle on the driver side rail that we just wanted to double check. You know, most of the car looked a-okay based on the issues that we found on the Carfax. The car had a front driver issue, a rear driver issue, passenger side impact. Based on the Carfax, the driver side was the worst one because we noticed they replaced the door. They put a door from a Targa. And we noticed that because the Targa cars have an extra support bar inside of the door versus the coupes. The rear, nothing major. It was like we saw some spot welds, nothing crazy. And well, the split on the front driver's side rail, that was something that, you know, we wanted to address. We didn't want to cut the car without addressing all the issues that we found on the driver's side of the car. On a side note, before I continue with this video, a recap, if you don't have a business partner that is ready to get down and dirty and go belly up on a fairly wet NSX to help out with the project, you have the wrong partner. Thanks, Jake, for helping me out with that, because I taking the NSX apart, but not to the level, and you know he's awesome when he's available. But yeah, so going back to the video, well, we already knew about the accidents, like I said before, based on the Carfax, and the idea was taking everything apart, load the car, take it down to our friends in Georgia, and we did. You know, we didn't want to split the car, like I said before, because the plan was chop the car in half, or you know, using the OEM splitting points based on the manual, and use the front for the Lognex NSX and the rear for the FireX, and you know, fix two cars in once. So after that, we took the car down to our friends in Georgia, and now in Georgia, once we got the car loaded on the frame machine and we leveled the chassis, Adam noticed the driver's side rail was up and inwards a few millimeters compared to the passenger side. So the game plan was bring the front rail down and out so we can use the trump gauge and measure the distance and trying to match or be as close as possible as OEM spec based on the repair manual. While Adam was doing the pull and the push, we heard some snap coming from that particular side of the rail, like almost where you have the strut tower, I would say, and between the driver's side and the wheel well. So it's kind of like it's in a corner, and you can see how as he was pulling the aluminum plates were like kind of snap a little bit. And so after further close inspection, he noticed some JB weld smear on the corners. The NSX has some seam sealant, and it's usually more on the yellowish, sometimes off-white color, but definitely not gray. And you know, I use JB weld. I'm sure you guys have used JB weld before. So it kind of looked just like that, and that was pretty suspicious to be in that area. It was kind of like smear on the edges, almost like trying to cover something. And yeah, that was not a good look. So. But we gotta continue working on the car, and just to make sure, you know, everything was straight. So that was one of the things that was kind of odd and weird to find, and kind of raise some flags at the time. But we gotta continue. So what we did is like we tried to align the car as close as possible as all the OEM spec. But every time we would move the driver's side rail, the bottom passenger side where the front subframe is bolted into the chassis, like it will get very it will be a lot of tension in there, and then the moment you remove the bolt, it will just snap. That's not good, because from subframe supposed to sit, and there is like a guide that have to match a little hole on the transmission part on the passenger side, well, on the passenger and the driver's side, so it won't move, right? And every time you're trying to do that, then we align the car, it will just come back out. And it was like very tedious, very annoying, but we finally got it done. And it took a lot of pull, push, aligning with the suspension, use the bolts, and using all the tricks that Adam had to help us fix the car, and put it as as close as possible as the OEM specs on the manual before we decided to split the car and finally be able to fix the Lognix NSX and the FireX, which was pretty much like the ultimate goal. So we, with all the work done on the chassis, decided to load the car back on the trailer and drive it back to Maryland, so we can vapor blast the chassis, especially on where the roof and the backside firewall meets, because that's usually the OEM area, or based on the OEM repair manual, where you would split. And well, when we got the car back into our shop and we put it back on the backyard, so we can start the vapor blasting process, right? Because we weren't getting close, and then we were very excited about be able to save 2 NSXs. We want NSX that have no chassis and pretty much there's no powertrain, because it came with a blown engine. We decided to get a gas power pressure washer and a special nozzle to vapor blast the car. And the idea was clean the area as much as possible, but I was very curious of vapor blast the area where we found the JB weld, right? And so I did, and I started going at it, and I found layers not just from Berlina Black, which was the original color of the car, but also Formula Red, which was not the original color of the car, and Spy Yellow that we found on the car when we got it, right? So it's kind of odd. Either the car was Berlina Black first, and then they painted it red, and then they got bored and they painted it yellow. Well, what it didn't match was that when I was scraping the paint out back, it was only Berlina Black and yellow, not red. When I vapor blast the front, it was Berlina Black, red, yellow, which is not a good sign, because that brought me back to when we first got the Lognix X, and then we started cleaning it, and Adam came and looked at the floor of the car and said, hey, by the way, guys, your car has been chopped one before. The front belongs to another car, not to the Lognix NSX. And that was one of the biggest discovery and one of the biggest issue that we found at the time when we first took on this project. And now that we were kind of close to fix the Lognix car and the FireX car, now we found this. So I kept my fingers crossed and I kept on going. Maybe it was just like, they were just painting on front red and they were just like, having fun. But that was like very, very naive of me, assuming that was the case. The more I was digging into that area of the suspension, top side of the car, and the firewall behind, in between the wheel well on the driver's side and the passenger side, I sat through and non-disclosed 30-liter secret started showing. I know the guys were dealing with a lot of stuff with their family at the time, so I didn't want to say anything, but I had to do it. I have to go around and start vapor blasting the interior of the car, especially where you would put your feet behind the steering wheel, and then the floor. They kind of have almost like a Y-shaped area where you have 3 plates welded together, which kind of conform the NSX chassis. So the more I got into that area, I mean, everything was painted like normal, like OEM black paint on that area, but of course, I kind of knew it. I wasn't very happy about it. I guess I was really hoping that was not the case, but the more I vapor blast, the more I saw the red paint coming, and the more I vapor blast, I started removing all this smear of gray paste, which we assume it was JB weld, trying to cover all the spot welds that they did over the OEM weld on the floor of the NSX. And the Saturn revealed itself. That car also had an issue, and at some point on its life, the front of the car was replaced with front end of an old NSX. They did some sort of like a better job. And what I believe is this happened before the Carfax mentioned anything about the NSX having a front impact. I assume that because it says that it had a front impact on the driver's side that hit a tree. So either the front end was already there before that and then they hit a tree, or they hit a tree and then they replace the front of the car, and then they have another accident which it create the front rail to split. I think it happened before. It was just not disclosed, and they were just doing like some shitty jobs back in the late 90s. And Carfax was pretty new at the time, and then I guess a lot of things were like put under the table or not disclosed to the owners. I think that's what happened. I think the car already have an accident. That might have been when they replaced the door, and then hitting the tree was afterwards. But at the end of the day, it kind of sucked. That was like pretty sad news. One of the biggest setbacks we had on the project at the time, and then with everything else going on, and that it was a really hard phone call for me to make, and to call Jay and Ramsey and share my findings on the car, and they were pretty bummed out, and there are a lot of things going on, and that's kind of was the last straw on the project. Fix the Locklink NSX at the time. We just decided to pause and kind of regroup, address the issues that we have personally in our life before we continue with the car. Pretty sad, but that's just the kind of changed the direction of the project, because we were planning on using that particular car to fix 2 cars, and then now we have another NSX chassis with another crazy history, an unknown, like unsolved mystery story behind it. God knows when the car was chopped. I'm just guessing here, but that it is what it is, and we decided to stop everything after that happened. So fast forward almost a year later, now that things are kind of like cooled down, and we are ready to retake on the project and start bringing back all the little pieces. That we are not gonna dump the NSX chassis on a junkyard. We're just not gonna do that. We're gonna trying to rescue the car and have some fun with it. It doesn't have a title. I don't know if we can get a title for that one. That's gonna be pretty hard. But there is no pressure to make it pristine. There is no pressure to like do anything crazy with it. So we wanna get it done right, in a sense of like be as structurally as sound possible, to make it a track ride. So the yellow NSX is going to be the Helix Autoworks track ride that hopefully we're gonna enjoy at any of those SCCA events, potentially autocross, NASA events. They host those events at the Summit Point, and we are like probably an hour from the racetrack. We also like Dominion Raceway, New Jersey Motorsports Park. So that is the idea for this car. We're gonna put it back together. We need to get a bunch of OEM parts, especially body parts, that they are arriving very soon, and that will be the goal. Get suspension, support bars front and back, align the car as best as possible, meaning body panels. Even though we don't want it to be, it's never going to be pristine, we still want it to look decent. So that's going to be the goal. We are probably not going to use any of the body panels that we have, like the front bumper and the rear bumper. We took it apart, and then I don't know what's going on, man. Like a lot of people use a lot of Home Depot screws to put everything together instead of like getting OEM NSX parts. Like back in the days, that was so cheap. I will get it if somebody's trying to repair the car right now. But back in the days when everything was available in the dealership, that makes no sense. But things from the past, things from the to add to the story of this crazy car. Now that we're gonna I wouldn't say restore it, but more like put it together and make it look as decent as possible, so we can have some fun at the racetrack. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. Now that you know the dirty little secret about that car is like the front belongs to another car, and the chassis is no longer one unit how it came out from the factory. But on the good side is there's no pressure to make everything perfect on this car. So we're gonna get some front bumper, rear, front, upper and lower bumper. We definitely gonna get a radiator support bar because we need that. All those welds are not good, and then kind of like we need to address that again. AC condenser support brackets, we're gonna get that. The T-shaped radiator support bar where you connect or hook your hood on the NSX. We're gonna get those too. And a running NSX powertrain. We got a 3.0 with 5-speed transmission coming in soon. And we're gonna do maintenance. We're gonna do videos about that. We're gonna record how we put the car together and do the I guess you can say the classic bolt-ons on the car. So headers, high flow cuts, exhaust, KW3 hopefully. KW is there and wanna support the channel, please reach out to us. We would love to have your product. We love KW. I think that's the most popular suspension setup, the most NSX run in our community, unless you want to get super bougie and get Olins. We are not that rich for that, but if they're out there, we'll take them. Of course, we're gonna do a new clutch, new seals. We're probably gonna do timing belt, water pump, maybe an RFY extended oil pan. Just when you're on the truck, you don't want to starve oil, and race seat. See, most likely me and Ramsey are gonna be taking that car to the racetrack. I'm 6 feet tall, but he is a lot taller than me. And if you are an NSX owner, or you're thinking to get an NSX and you are above 6'2" and you want to truck your car, you're gonna have a bit of a hard time to fit on the car, because when you have your helmet on, you add a few more inches and you're already past 6'2", you're gonna be like 6'4", and you have your cushions and all this other stuff. Definitely probably not gonna fit on your OEM seat unless you want to push it forward and lean towards the back. But that's just a recommendation. Get a Targa, at least you can remove the Targa top, and then you will be able to fit on your NSX on a nice day. But yeah, I mean, we're pretty excited about this one. We're just waiting on parts, and by me waiting is like we're talking about weeks, not months. Most of the stuff we already have on the way, since we decided to pull the trigger on this particular car, that we can fix and show you what we can accomplish versus the Logness NSX that we are waiting to schedule a time with our welder to put everything together. But that's gonna get done whenever it gets done. On the meantime, we're gonna focus on other projects that we have. We dive into some 3D scanning, 3D printing, potentially some carbon fiber parts. I'm gonna be do some research on that, see if we can make our own NSX interior parts. But that's something for another episode. I know I'm just like talking too much right now, but yeah, we're excited to be back. We're excited to finish this car. All the parts are coming in soon, so I will aim to be done with this car within like a month or so, depending of like a couple parts that we're missing. But getting the powertrain, getting the axles done, the exhaust, even if there is no door, I mean, like we can run it crazy. I don't care, because why not? So we're excited about that. That should be coming in the next few episodes. I also went to San Francisco and picked up one of the last NSX ever made. It's an 05 NSX, and that also have a crazy history of how a past life of like insurance fraud, racketeering, money laundering, and all this stuff. So I took a break and I went to got it myself. I did a cross-country trip from Maryland to San Francisco and back in 6 days. So that was quite a trip. Have a lot of fun. I saw a tornado. I didn't know that Nebraska was known for the tornadoes. Very ignorant me, but that happened, and I'm gonna make a bit of videos about that in parallel or one after the other. I'm posting videos about the yellow car, and in between, if you have any updates of the Logness NSX, we're gonna post about that too. So that's what we got for you. Thanks for your support. Thanks for sticking to this channel, and we're gonna have some pretty cool stuff coming for you soon. So stay tuned and see you on the next episode. Peace.